Nerd Takes.
Nerd Takes.
Nerd Takes.
My name is John,
I'm Justin.
I'm Andrew.
and we're back to try the Heaven Hill 18 year, which is part of the Heaven Hill Heritage Collection. I think we had the fortune of trying the Heaven Hill 17 year, which is the first version of the Heritage Collection.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out friend of the show, Brian Bauer. So this is the third iteration of the Heaven Hill Heritage Collection. Pretty excited about this one.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, I definitely liked the 17, but I think that we had other guests that liked it more than me.
It was a Heaven Hill extravaganza that day
that's
because
right.
we had that one, and then we did the Parker's Heritage, which was the heavy char bourbon. You liked that
was
one
my
more
jam,
than
yeah.
this one. Now, all the same mash bill for all of these, for those two, and even this one, same mash bill, just obviously different aging, different barrels, everything. But yeah, you liked the heavy char bourbon, and both of those are fantastic bottles.
Mm-hmm.
But I lean towards the 17 year. But this time around, we're trying the 18 year. So a little history on this. Obviously, it's made by Heaven Hill. This is the 2024 release of the Heaven Hill Heritage Collection. It's bottled without chill filtration at 120 proof. This 120 proof whiskey showcases our bourbon mash bill of 78% corn, 10% rye, and 12% malted barley. As noted on the label and for added transparency, this release consists of 133 barrels that were produced in December of 2005. What were you doing in December of 2005? And it was aged on the third floor of Rickhouse 1I. Jesus.
It's a fun question to think about. I think I was just barely out of college and had my first. I was in grad school. That's what I was
I think
doing.
we were living together.
We were, and I was substitute teaching.
Yeah. I hadn't even started a MasterCard yet.
Blue Sky had just opened. No one knows. Well, actually, a lot of people watch.
A lot of people
know what that
probably
is, but
know what Blue
Oh
Sky
yeah,
is.
I know what that is. Isn't that when Matt got married?
Yeah. That was
Matt got married in 2005.
December 30th?
Yeah. Because Adam was born in 2005, and
Yeah, and
he lit up their wedding.
He was tiny.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was little. Yeah, there you go.
So I kind of gave you a little bit of stats on that was the summary straight from the website. The MSRP on this bottle is $300. I do have tasting notes from two different websites, their website and then also Breaking Bourbon,
Mhm.
which we're fans of. So they did a review on this one as well. So I pulled their notes down, but I'm going to hold off on that. The color, I will say, from the website is polished mahogany.
yeah,
Sure.
It's no, I mean it's a
Okay.
really
I mean,
cool
yeah.
color. It's actually like super orange.
It is.
Yeah, it's not as dark as I
very
thought
orange.
it would be. If I'm going to be
Yeah.
completely honest with you.
Yeah, but the legs on it are freaking incredible.
Yeah. So
Um,
let's dive in. Nose. So we'll give our notes, and then I'll give the notes from them just to see how close or
Okay, so
off
I've
we
been
are.
trying to nose it here for a little bit. I think that it's got a lot of, it's got some citrus in it. I think cherries is what I'm pulling out, which I always say that. But I also think I got a little bit of tobacco in there, and I'm sure that's like part of the barrel being, in the barrel for freaking 18 years.
18 years, yeah.
So I'm starting with cherries. I'm starting with tobacco, and I'm going to say maybe a little bit of like baking spices.
Okay. You said oak.
I got oak right off. Like first smell, I got oak right off the bat. The a little bit of sweetness, so I don't think as sweet as a molasses or a caramel. Again, I'm going to kind of lean into the honey there. I did get the cherry, so I don't think you're crazy there.
Thank you.
And some citrus. I mean, no more than.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in this circumstance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting. So and that's why I pulled two on purpose because they're kind of different. So from the website, this is from Heaven Hill's website, the nose was dried flowers and black tea, old oak and toasted almonds. However, Breaking Bourbon, cherry cough syrup,
Mhm.
cherry cola, musty oak, graham cracker, and molasses.
Okay.
So I feel
take
like
it.
we're
I'll take it.
probably more on the Breaking Bourbon side than we are on the Heaven Hill
Sure.
side. Are the dried flowers and black tea is interesting because like if you now that you hear that you can kind of find it.
I think
You
the
kind of see it.
well,
Black tea maybe a little bit more.
I think that with everything though, when you're doing these tastings, if you don't have familiarity with like drinking black tea, you don't recognize that
Yeah, I'm not
flavor profile.
I'm not a
So,
tea
like,
guy. I wouldn't.
I never would have ever thought of that because I
Yeah.
don't drink tea.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, I do get the almond. I do get the molasses a little bit
Yep.
now that after I've
Yep.
after you said that.
Yeah. All right. So dive into the palate.
So I already took a little bit of a sip, and it's got like it kind of does dry your mouth out. Like it's not. How do you explain it? It's got a really good mouthfeel, but like it immediately like just sucks all the like the any type of I don't.
Yeah, it's very astringent.
Yeah, thank you. That's the right
Yeah.
word I'm looking for. But it's got an amazing like full mouth texture to it. I don't know what flavor profiles I'm getting from it right now. Give me a second. I think I get the oak. I think I'm getting a little bit of
Yeah.
black pepper.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jump in there, guys.
Yeah,
Give me a
so
second.
I think the astringency is from the oak.
Yes.
Because you that definitely comes through, and then I'm getting some allspice.
Okay. Yeah, I got you.
A little bit of citrus. It's not super sweet.
It's like staying on the tip of my tongue.
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah,
is odd.
there's some spice in there too. I mean, probably. It's it's got rye in the mash bill, so there's going to be something.
a
but-
little bit. Yeah.
Tip of the tongue, but also like back root.
Way back,
Absolutely.
way back,
absolutely,
yeah.
Tip of the tongue
Nothing
and then
but-
way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't get it. So
It's not. Some of the other ones we've tried, it's like a full mouth,
mouth
like
feel,
the
the
whole
the
mouth
oily-
thing,
the
right? Like
oiliness.
yeah, but
Yeah.
you're not. I'm not getting that with this at all.
I think if you add water to it, it does open it up a little bit more.
Okay.
I think the finish is in the same two places as before. Now I'm actually getting a little bit deeper, kind of in the throat.
Okay.
But I don't know. I think it is. I know. Like I said, suck the moisture out of my mouth pretty quick. But then I think when you add some water, it does. I get a little bit more of the oil to it. I think it's with water. It's got more sweetness to it. I definitely have a little bit of. I know I always say caramel, but I want to actually just say just straight like cane sugar, which is basically caramel, but like
Which is,
But-
I mean, basically, it's all right. It's okay.
the more refined sugar, I guess. And then I don't know. I can't. I'm not, there's no one particular flavor that's popping out
It's
for me.
and the notes kind of reflect that as well. So from the website, we've got vanilla and caramel with leather and oak char, peppery spices, more caramel, and a hint of orange oil,
Okay,
Which I-
which could be the citrus.
I got a lot more of
citrus.
the leather and the orange and the citrus like on the nose, like ironically, but
Yeah, and
I
then
totally get that.
And then from Breaking Bourbon, it was charred oak, cooked morello cherries, light root beer, and vanilla extract. So maybe
I don't
that
even know
sugar
what cooked
cane
morello
could be
cherries
that
taste
root beer
like.
note
Yeah,
that they got.
think
or
That could be
vanilla
it.
too.
Yeah,
What'd
yeah,
you
yeah.
say?
I couldn't even tell you what cooked morello cherries taste
I
like.
couldn't tell you either. I would have just said cherries.
Let me just say though that like the water
kinda
definitely
all over the
opens it up, but like now that I've had a couple more sips to it, and even like now I'm sitting here and waiting, that finish is freaking unreal. For me personally, I think
it's
it's
nice and long.
incredible. Like now it's like much more.
It keeps changing.
It's much more full bodied. And it's
Yeah.
coming in waves, right?
Yeah.
Which I think some of the better ones we've had. I think that's what tends to happen. It doesn't hit you right in the mouth or hit you right in the throat and then go away. It does that, subsides a little bit, and it kind of comes back a little, like like I said, like
Yep.
ebbs and flows a little bit.
Yep.
I think it's very, very tasty.
So yeah, I think for me it gets deeper, like as you have a little bit more as it coats your mouth. I don't know if that's what
No, that-
happens, but it definitely like it's
That could be it.
gotten more interesting the more I've tried it.
Well, and I mean, and that's like just in general with tasting notes, like they're trying it once and then they're trying it again and then they're trying it again because, yeah, to your point, like it's going to evolve.
Yeah.
Both like in the glass over time in your mouth. So like you're just going to be able to pick up different things the more times you taste it. So I think that's natural. From a finish perspective, we've got from Heaven Hill's website, big spices with a long, warm, dry finish.
Mhm.
That was the dryness that you had. And then Breaking Bourbon had musty oak barrel tannins,
Okay.
probably the astringency, Andrew, that you mentioned, leather, baking chocolate, a touch of smoke, and then also they called out the light dryness as well. So
Hmm.
that dry finish is just kind of sucking the life out of you, so to speak. Yeah, that's there.
Producer Justin, do you have any thoughts right now before we do a rating?
I'm a simple man, and there's a lot going on here.
There is a lot. This is not bourbon flavored bourbon.
No, this is not bourbon flavored bourbon. And I'm a very simple man. That being, I wrote down cherries, cola, and did someone say allspice? Because I feel like there's
Yeah,
allspice.
Andrew said
Yeah,
it, yeah.
I think there's
Yep.
allspice in there. What I'm noticing that I really enjoy, I get the dryness. I want to drink something after it, but if you just resist the urge and let it sit there, that heat builds back up on the tip of the tongue and on
Yep.
the roof of the
It
mouth.
just keeps
yeah.
I
going.
thought about you when I said that.
Yeah, but then there's also it's just resting on my tongue. Like I'm just sitting here, especially after adding water to it. It just rests there, and that's where the I'm feeling a heat right now.
Yep.
I like it.
It's just sitting there.
I like that it. Yeah, I got something from it.
I think it's super well said. Like as I'm doing this more and more, I've for a long time been like not a big advocate of like adding water. Like I just like to drink it straight and see what that's like. But as I'm doing that more, I get why you do it, because
It changes the.
we
changes it.
don't have to do a rating this very second, but I'm gonna say before I added the water, my opinion on this was way worse than it's going
Yeah.
to be in the final review.
Mhm.
Because I think that app opens up the flavor and like Justin said, and I think I may have mentioned earlier, like it actually makes the finish significantly better too.
Mhm.
Like it's still going for me.
Me too. It's crazy, but it didn't do it as much the first time around. And
Yeah.
maybe,
No,
I mean,
it's just sitting like right here. It's just
Mhm.
sitting there. Yeah, it's crazy.
right.
All right, let's do some ratings. Andrew,
Oh,
you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. I'll give it a 7.5. Sweaty Luke,
Sweaty Lou.
really good, great bourbon. The finish lasts forever. I think the thing that probably shades it down for me is just the value for money. This is an expensive bottle.
It's not a cheap bottle.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and I'm not sure I love really long aged bourbons. I love really long aged scotches. I'm not sure I love a bourbon that's been sitting in an oak barrel for 18 years.
This is
So, I don't drink bourbon for the oak, and for me, this is much more of a whiskey. The fuck was that? Bug just flew through. Anyway,
You should start your thought over again. You
no, it's okay. It's
Please
all right.
do.
This is much more of a whiskey, I think, than a bourbon. I mean, it definitely it is the mash bill. The mash bill defines it as a bourbon, but it doesn't taste to me like I would expect a bourbon to taste. So,
that is 100% true.
yeah, but I mean, it's good, and if you have the money and you want an 18-year bourbon, this is a great buy. Like, yes, do
Like,
it.
Yeah, again, comparing it to like we've had the 17-year, the Parker's Heritage, not the wheat, but like the Heavy Char, like those were bourbons. And this it hits, it just doesn't hit in the same way.
Mm.
It's very interesting. And
Yeah.
and yeah, you mentioned like the aging, like you're getting to the point where like it's almost too old.
Yeah.
Of like, anything over 15 years old and it's going to be hit or miss is you're playing with fire because yeah, to your point, like something sits in the Kentucky heat for that long, like you're running the risk of it just tasting like oak and
Yeah.
that's it. And we've reviewed some things on here that have just been totally over oaked
Yeah.
that are younger than this. So
Mhm.
I totally get you there.
Yeah, I'll
Go
give
ahead.
my review. So, I mean, if we're talking finish, like this is like darn near Red 5 Luke or even like Jedi Luke. Like the finishes, I think, is pretty freaking amazing. But to your guys' point, I think the flavor, it takes a while for the flavor to even really like make an impact. And in fact, I was really struggling. You can watch the video. I was struggling on
Look at the facial expression.
thinking of like, what does this actually taste like besides like just, I mean, basic sugar and bourbon, right? Doesn't mean it tasted bad. Like it's a good taste, but I don't know. I guess
Yeah.
I was underwhelmed with what I expected to have. But I do want to factor in the finish, which is incredible, but also factor in the cost, which also is obviously a big deal. So I'm gonna say Dagobah Luke.
Okay.
Which
Okay.
which is probably a little bit higher than, I don't know. I even expected to say I was waiting till the last minute. I was leading between Hoth and Dagobah, and
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say Dagobah. Yeah, because the finish is freaking crazy good.
It's still going.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
No,
I haven't
it's-
taken a
it's good.
sip since we started talking about ratings.
So
and
that in itself
still
has
going.
made it not Hoth Luke, not Empire, bumped it all the way up to the 7.
Yep. No, I got you. And I will echo you, and I will also go Sweaty Luke. Again, for a lot of the same reasons. Again, all I've done was read stuff online. Didn't know what to expect. It is not what I expected. Again, not in a bad way, but it's just given our history with Heaven Hill and our affinity for Heaven Hill, this is just completely different.
Mhm.
So you kind of have to like wrap your mind around that for a second of realizing, okay, that's not what I thought this was going to be, and then figure out like there are obviously 7.5 is still a
Yeah.
fantastic score, but yeah, just different, not what you would expect for sure. Justin,
I'm going to go 6, maybe 6.5. I think it's very good. Thank you for this. I
Empire
appreciate it.
Luke.
Yeah, Empire Luke. Because I think it's very good. I agree with the finish. On the finish alone, way high. But it was weird. And I think it's good. I'm glad I drank it. I would not be happy if I paid for it. So I'm glad someone else paid for it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And I've seen some. So I did in the research for this, and just debating of whether I wanted to buy this bottle or not. I did some research, and I've seen some reviews where people have ranked this higher than the 17. Now, Breaking Bourbon gave it 3 stars, which again isn't a bad score, but it's also not a glowing.
It's not an amazing score.
It's not
Yeah.
a glowing score,
Right.
And also, I would be remiss to say, but the heavy char bourbon that you really liked, they only gave that one 3.5, which I totally disagree with because that thing's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So to each their own, I guess.
Win some, you lose some.
Anyways, that's the Heaven Hill 18 year. Buy at your own risk.
100%.
Maybe it's your thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's your not. Probably, if we're gonna give it a rating, we'd probably say if you want to try it, go to a bar.
What's the retail on it?
300.
I mean,
Or go to a bar, try it, see if you like it before you buy it. It's probably the best recommendation I can give anybody.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, there you have it.
Nerd
That's the
takes.
review. Nerd takes.
Nerd takes.